What's up, y'all? Riley here, and today I want to talk about these Vertx Contingency Duffel Bags. I have both sizes here, the smaller 45 liter and the larger 85 liter. In this video, I'm just going to talk about the primary features of these bags, what I like and don't like about them, how I utilize them, and if I'd recommend them or not. So I'm going to go ahead and put the small one away for now. We'll compare the sizes a little bit more in depth later. But for now, I want to focus on the larger bag so I can show you some of the features up close. So this is the larger 85 liter version of the Vertx Contingency Duffel. It's easy to say that a bag is only as good as the materials that are used to construct it. And if you have been through as many bags as I have, that becomes abundantly clear. Low quality duffels, they just don't hold up to wear and tear, especially if you are a little bit rough on your gear, carry heavy things, or have a tendency to toss them on the ground, whether that ground is carpet or the forest. So this bag is constructed of high quality materials, and that's pretty evident from the get-go. I'll start off with a negative here. While the materials are premium and durable, they do make this bag pretty heavy. So this bag right here, the 85 liter, weighs in at just under 8 pounds, and that's before you put anything in it. So if you are a smaller person or are going to be carrying this bag for long distances or through rougher terrain, that's something to think about. It is not light. It is not very mobile. In fact, if you can tell, it's pretty wide as well, so it can be difficult to fit through doors when this thing is heavy and loaded down. But the benefit of that additional weight is the materials are top notch. The bag has a little bit of structure thanks to the materials, and the stitching is all very premium. It feels sturdy, and like you can throw this bag around for years to come without any issues. As far as the specifics of the materials, the bottom, should have cleaned it off a little bit, but this is a good demonstration. You can see how it just wipes clean. The bottom and the sides, anywhere where you're seeing this black material, that is 1200D polyester. So it's extremely durable, rip resistant, it wipes clean, and you can toss it around, set it down on pretty much any surface, and it's gonna hold up. I like that they carried this up the sides a little bit, because that's where the majority of your wear and tear on a bag is going to come, you know, bumping into corners or sliding around in the back seat. So all these high wear areas are made of that really heavy polyester. The upper, which is this nice grayish color, I think it also comes in blue, and they sometimes do special editions like black camo and that kind of stuff, black multicam. This is a 600D polyester, so it's also very durable while looking really premium. One thing that Vertx is known for and that I really appreciate is that the majority of their clothing and their gear looks just at home at a resort as it does at the range. So you're not walking around looking like a target or like you are carrying a tactical bag, even though these can be used for those applications. So I really appreciate that it looks nice while using very durable, tough materials. In addition to the materials that Vertx is using to construct their contingency duffels, they're also integrating a lot of interesting features into the bag. And I appreciate bags that allow you to organize them without having to go out and buy, you know, separate packing cubes or whatever. While the main packing area compartment here is pretty cavernous and it could benefit from some packing cubes, there are many features of this bag that allow you to organize it without having to turn to other sources, without having to go out and buy more products to fill the bag itself. So we'll start with this front cubby here. It goes the length of the bag, which is really nice, and you can fit a surprising amount in here even though it's pretty slim when it's shut. So on the interior here, you have multiple pockets And you'll notice that a lot of the lining in this bag is Velcro material. So it gives you even more organizational options. You can slap a first aid kit in here, flashlight, whatever it is, just buy some little Velcro attachments and you can have them right there readily available, which is great. You know where they are when you need them. But there are two large pockets in this bag. And then as you can see in the front, there are multiple smaller pockets. So small one there, another pretty large one, a zippered pocket, and all these zippered pockets in this bag are anti-abrasion. So they're this semi-transparent mesh and they don't scratch up anything. And then you have some pin pockets or flashlight or whatever you want to use those for, as well as a nice little key ring. So that's the front pocket. This is where, if I'm traveling, I keep my emergency first aid kit, flashlights, maybe some identification, things that I need to access readily, because if I'm wearing this as a sling, I can just reach down in front and have all those things readily available. Because this is Velcro, you can also use a Velcro holster if you want to keep your sidearm in the front of the bag, easily accessible, but I think there's a better spot for it, so I'm going to go ahead and show you that. Here on this side, you'll notice that we have a quick pull tab. So I actually have this zipped up wrong. Let's get it set up so I can show you properly. So Vertx bags all come with this quick pull tab, and it's large, it's made of a very grippy rubber, so it's easy to grab in an emergency situation. And the point is, when you encounter a situation where you need quick access to whatever it is, whether it's your firearm or something else, you can readily find this tab and just yank it, and this whole compartment will open. It's very simple, very straightforward, and effective. In here, you will find a Velcro panel. So this is where I would mount my sidearm if I was carrying one with this bag. Just a Velcro holster, maybe a couple spare mags, and they all fit right there. Pretty concealable. There's not much padding on the outside of this, so it might print a little bit if there's nothing else in there. But what won't print is your primary weapon. So the contingency bags have a full-length concealed compartment, or sleeve, if you will. And it is fully padded all the way around. So it's padded in the front, on the inside, and on the end. So there's not going to be any printing. And this allows you to carry a firearm that is pretty large. So you could fit a broken down AR in here. If you have a SBR, that would fit without any issue. And I'll just reach my arm in there so you can see how deep that concealed compartment in this 85-liter bag goes. So for context, I'm like just under 6 foot tall and I have pretty long arms. So this goes all the way. That gives you a lot of options. And I've utilized that option quite frequently when traveling and you want a safe place to store your firearm or something else, and you want it on your body, don't want it floating around in your truck or whatever it is. And that is a very handy feature, especially when integrated with this quick pull tab. You can rip that open, pull out your firearm, and you're good to go. It also makes it a very handy range bag. So little side plot there. This would work as a range bag and give you plenty of storage capacity for everything that goes with that. On the other end here, we have a standard cubby. Here you can see this is the padded end of that sleeve, so your barrel is not going to print here either. So we're really thoughtful that they included this instead of just having it open on both sides. Other than that, this is just a standard compartment to store things. There's no Velcro on this side, there's no pouches, just somewhere where you can dump things. On the inside, we have a massive storage compartment. This is where I would, put my clothes, my toiletries, that kind of stuff if I'm traveling. Or if you're using this as like a 72-hour bag, this is where the bigger stuff can go. And it works very well. There is some structure to the bottom of this bag. So even heavier items aren't going to protrude through the bottom. They're not going to puncture the bag. And over time, I think this is going to hold up very well. I have had this bag for about 1.5 years and used it pretty consistently. And it looks practically new, other than some scuffs here and there. On the interior of the 85 liter, you have 3 large zippered pockets that are all mesh, all non-abrasive, and really high quality zippers. Great places to store emergency blankets, your water filtration, or if you're traveling, just toiletries, knickknacks, socks, underwear, whatever you want to do to stay organized when you're on the go. Now let's talk about this, because I know you can see that this has kind of flopped around a little bit throughout me talking. This top flap, I'm going to go ahead and zip everything else up so that I can do this without being distracted. All the zippers are YKK, and they're phenomenal. It's not totally water resistant, but it is enough. I've walked through downpours with this, and it keeps everything pretty much dry. So those are great zippers and just complement the quality of this bag pretty well. As you can tell, this top flap is more than that, of course, with a bag like this. You can open this all the way. So it zippers all the way down the back of the bag. And if you're wondering why you would want to do that, the answer is depends. You can use this however you see fit. So you could stand on this to change your clothes. You could set your muddy boots on this and then wipe it clean. Anything that you want to keep out of the dirt and mud, you can set on here. Let's say you're at the range, you need to service your firearm. You can put it on here, disassemble it, clean it, solve the issue, put it back together, and it's never touched the ground. It's never been exposed to any sand, dirt, things that can get in there and mess things up. Another nice feature of this particular area of the bag is you'll notice that this back panel is actually composed of 3 different parts, so there's some flexibility there. What's really great about that is it does allow you to fold the bag in a little bit, but also to access your goodies a little more readily. When you're done using the top panel for whatever it is that you're using for, you just zip it back up, and then you'll notice that there are snaps on either side, so you just want to snap those back into place, and that will keep the top from just falling open whenever you want to open the bag up. The last thing that I want to talk about with the contingency bag is the straps it comes with. So you'll notice here I have it set up in a sling formation where I'm running these carabiners to either corner, and then I am connecting the straps together to form one solid strap. This works well for the larger bag, especially because I can just throw it over my shoulder when I'm getting it out of the truck, carrying it up to a hotel room, whatever it is. If I was using this as a bag where I am bugging out or trying to get home, I would want to convert these to the secondary configuration. So let me just do that real quick. And by unhooking the straps from one another, you're left with 2 straps. Then you can simply clip in to the remaining anchors on the bag, and this will leave you with a backpack formation. So this allows you to wear the bag as a backpack. Again, if you are using this in any scenario where you're walking long distances or want to be able to handle the pack with more mobility, you might want to go with this configuration and wear it as a backpack where the weight is more evenly distributed and you can move about freely. The last configuration would be taking this middle Velcro piece, and you can actually put the straps together, Velcro the piece back, and now you have a carrying handle. So there are 3 ways that you can run these straps depending on the use case scenario. I think that's a thoughtful touch. They are a little chaotic at times, but I would rather have that versatility and deal with a little bit of excess strap than be limited to a single option. So I do appreciate that, even though it does come with its downsides. Speaking of downsides, let's talk about a few places where this bag falls short, and then compare the sizes and wrap this thing up. Okay, so it's pretty clear that I like this bag as is, and there aren't many things that I would change. I touched on one of the downfalls of this bag earlier when I mentioned that it is bulky and heavy. Just looking at it on this table, you can tell that this 85-liter duffel is much larger than other duffels of its capacity. So part of that is due to the structure that it has, which again is a benefit. However, when you're trying to store this or shove it into a smaller space, say you're using the smaller bag as a carry-on, whatever the situation may be, the structure and the just overall size of the bag makes it difficult to do those things. It doesn't fold in on itself very well, it's hard to store, and it's hard to transport. It's also heavy. So this bag is the 85-liter, and when it is fully packed, Hannah has a very hard time carrying it around, especially for any sort of distance. So if she was going to take this on a solo trip, she would have difficulty maneuvering with it, especially in a situation where she has to carry it any amount of distance. So that's something to consider. She uses the 45-liter for that very reason. She would love to have the extra capacity of the 85-liter, but if this becomes her bag, then I'm the one who carries it, even if it's her things. So just keep that in mind. It can get very heavy, and it's quite bulky. The other area where these bags fall short is the price. So duffel bags are a dime a dozen, and obviously there are different tiers and levels of quality and features and all of that stuff. And these bags pack their punch of those things. So for some of you, the price may be worth it. For others, you might be kind of taken aback by the price. And that is because these bags cost around $200 a piece. The larger one, I think, checks in at around $220, and then the smaller one comes in, I think, a little less than that. And Vertx does have coupon codes pretty regularly. You can also sometimes find deals from third-party vendors such as Amazon or any other supplier that you might go to for tactical needs. So the price is a deterrent for some people. Personally, I think if you get it on sale and you bargain shop a little bit, it's worth it. But I can see how somebody might think otherwise. Let's compare the sizes. There are minor differences between the two models, and I will point out what they are now. The 85-liter has a few things that the 45-liter doesn't, which is why I started with the 85-liter. The 45-liter only has one end pocket. So the end pocket on the 45-liter is the access point for your concealed sleeve. That's the only end pocket that the 45-liter has. It does have the front pocket with the same configuration as the larger bag. And then on the interior, it has the same configuration again. It has 3 mesh pockets, although they are quite a bit smaller just because of the size of the bag. Speaking of the size of the bag, the footprint is obviously substantially different. You could easily fit the 45-liter into the 85-liter with room to spare. So if you are going anywhere for more than the weekend, this bag might limit you quite a bit. However, you can use the 45-liter as a carry-on, which is a tremendous benefit. Also is a little bit lighter, less bulky, and much easier to maneuver with. So it kind of depends on what you're going for here. I prefer the larger bag because I can pack for my needs as well as Hannah's if we're going on a trip together and it's 2 or 3 days. I can also keep emergency supplies in this bag in addition to my own clothing and maybe some of Hannah's. So it gives me more options or more use case scenarios where I can deal with the extra size in order to have that extra capacity. Now, if it's just you and you don't have a partner to consider, then the 45 liter is probably the way to go. If it was just me and I was going ultra light, that's what I would do. Usually when Hannah travels alone, she will take the 45 liter because it's just her. That being said, it totally depends on how you're using these bags. And it would be great if there was a middle ground, but there's not. So just pick your poison, and maybe one day Vertx will give us a comparable bag that splits the difference between the two. But for now, it's small and gigantic. So that pretty much sums up my review of the Vertx Contingency bags. Overall, I think they're great bags and I would buy them again. In retrospect, I might just buy 2 of the 45 liters, but curiosity got the best of me. I already had the 45 liter. It wasn't quite big enough for what I wanted. So I said, hey, I'll just get the 85 liter and compare the two. And that's what I did. We've had both now and used them consistently for a year and a half, almost 2 years, and they've held up phenomenally. We use them, we're not gentle with them, and they're not really showing any signs of wear, especially where it counts, and I expect them to serve us well for years to come. So bottom line, if I would recommend these bags, absolutely. I do think the 45 liter is better for most people just because of the sheer size of this bag, and the way that it's constructed makes it just a little bit bulky. But that's all I have for you guys today. If you have any comments, please leave them below. If you have experience with these bags, questions, or you have a different company that makes a bag comparable to this that you actually prefer, let me know, because I have a problem and I will probably end up buying one. I just love organization and have way too many bags as is already. So until the next time, I'll see you.